Hi, this is Chronicles and I'm your host, Simon Rushton. Today we have a lovely lady in the car. She's a makeup artist and she's on the way to Ibiza, or Ibiza, if you want to say it. And she's all hyped up, she's drunk her coffee, she's happy, she's full of vibes. Welcome to the famous Chronicles Taxi K.
What an honour. Thank you for inviting me, Simon. This is fantastic.
That's good.
Love it.
So tell us about the makeup art industry first, then we'll roll on.
Okay, well, it's an interesting industry. I mean, I've been doing it since I was 16, so only a couple of years. No, not really. I've been doing it for decades, and I've been doing it since I was a kid. I grew up in West London. My father's from Trinidad, my mum's British, and so I'm a real West Londoner in terms of like, I've got that whole cross-section thing, which has really helped me in the industry because as a kid I was always fascinated by kind of identity and people, the different tribes of people that there were in London, and I loved fashion and music and everything else because I found that the most, it represented me the most. I related to those people the most. Okay. So going into fashion and that expression and then meeting people from all over the world it felt like a really normal thing for me to do,
So you went straight into the makeup industry?
After school? After school? Yeah, after school. I mean, when I say industry, I mean I've always been self-employed. I don't work for anybody. Okay. Every day I have a different client. So I started off in fashion. And I used to do sort of fashion magazines in the 80s, like The Face and ID, and then I moved on to doing, as I got a little bit older, I started doing Vogue, and then I moved to New York when I was 25, 26, and then was basically in and out of New York on a plane for about 15 years. Ooh. Yeah.
Sounds like an interesting life. You must have many stories.
I've got loads of stories, and I might not ever do lunch in this town again if I told them again to you.
What's it like? You said you do privately, so are these famous people?
So I do actresses. So I do actresses now, which is why I am presently unemployed because I do press with actresses. So I don't do actresses for like at their house to go to parties. I'm employed by, so say like an actress, I don't know, like Naomi Harris or someone. Yeah. Say like she's doing press for Bond or something. The company pay for hair and makeup artists and stylists to do their press, what's called press junkets. So they go to a hotel. We all go to a hotel for the day in London, and then the European press all come to Claridge's or the Dorchester or somewhere like that. Mm-hmm. And all do their press, and they do 5-minute interviews for all day, and you touch them up in between. So that's basically what I do. Okay. Yeah.
That's good.
But it means I'm unemployed now because they can't do press. I was going to do Bond this year. I was going to do Top Gun press, but all of it, they can't open.
So you've got a real good reputation.
Yeah, I've worked hard to get there, but yeah, I have. Yeah, I worked very hard to get to where I am. I didn't listen to anyone at school. Because they wouldn't have said go and be a makeup artist because that job didn't really exist. So they thought I was crazy when I said I wanted to be.
Is it a popular thing now?
It is now. But when I was at school, the teachers never heard of it. They thought maybe that's what you do at the BBC or something. They didn't know.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
And then I'm just a taxi.
Yeah, you're a bloke.
Yeah, I'm a bloke. I'm a taxi driver. I'm glad you said that. Yeah. So okay, well that sounds very intriguing. Would you advise other younger people to get into the industry?
I think if you want to, because we live in the Instagram world, the selfie world, I think that, there's a lot of people that can be famous for 15 minutes now. Mm-hmm. Andy Warhol was right when he said one day everyone's going to be famous for 15 minutes because it's so true. You can be famous, you can be completely unknown, and yet you can have 10 million Instagram followers. And the reason I'm talking about that is because a lot of kids now growing up, they grow up on reality TV and all the programs on TV where you see lots of sort of people kind of acting up being famous people and stars, and their people, their entourage, and it's not like how it really happens. They always camp it up for the cameras. and I think that it's presented as a really a job full of divas, or people who can tell people what to do, or people who it looks like it's really glamorous and it's really easy to get there, whereas it's really, really hard work, and it's not glamour. We create glamour, but the job isn't glamorous. The job is like very little sleep, a lot of hard work, a lot of standing around.
Oh, so you're always touching up, aren't you?
Yeah, and you're busy, you're hanging around. I mean, often it's very boring, because
as long as that person's on set, you've got to be there.
You've got to be there, and it's you don't just, there's no vacancies in my industry. There are no vacancies, and when I first started, there were not many makeup artists, whereas now there are so many makeup artists. So I think for a lot of young kids now, they don't want to work very hard. They'd rather be famous on Instagram, because it's do you know what I mean? So I think it depends what you want to do, and I think, to be honest with you, I think the world is changing, as we all know, so fast, and this year everything has gone so crazy and so fast that no one can really process. I mean, my industry has completely changed, and all industries have completely changed. And so I don't really know what's going to happen in terms of things like fashion in the future, because I come from the days where a magazine like Vogue was very powerful because there was no internet. So
they set the trend.
Yeah, and so they had the power. Magazines like Vogue, and the fact the fashion shows twice a year, the seasonal fashion shows, spring, summer, and autumn, winter, and Vogue used to basically dictate what the trends were, in the sense that you had the greatest photographers in the world, the most incredible models, the most talented hair and makeup artists, and these people, you didn't get paid much for Vogue, because Vogue is not where you get paid, but if your name's in Vogue, you get paid massive loads of money for the advertising jobs where your name isn't on it. So when you do Vogue, your name is on it. Everyone knows it's like your portfolio. And then the people who were in that magazine used to be like this anyway. You would be doing the Chanel campaigns, you'd be doing the Fendi campaigns, you'd be doing the superstars, you'd be earning a fortune. But now, because of the internet, Vogue is no longer got that currency, because it used to be able to charge £10,000, £20,000 a day for your advertising. So in order for brands to be top brands, they would have to buy pages in Vogue, whereas now you don't have to. It's completely changed. You don't have to, because the internet there is so much stuff and so much information on the internet. People no longer need magazines anymore. So basically, the only reason Vogue really exists now is as a brand name. It's not making money from its advertising anymore. But so when you look at Vogue now, there's much less money spent on its editorial, because in the old days we'd fly to, I've gone to Vietnam, for 2 weeks, I've gone all over the world just to do pages in Vogue. That's how much, and that cost a fortune. Yeah, because it's not necessary, because you've got Ecom now, so you've got advertisers and brands. You can sell things online. You can have a brand. I could set up an Instagram page right now in this taxi, right now, and start a brand. Oh, by the way, by the time I got to the airport, I could almost basically have a click to buy thing. So why would I spend £10,000 buying a page in Vogue? So it's completely changed everything. So the reason I'm banging on about all of that is connected to your question. Would you suggest young people now become makeup artists? It's a different terrain. So the makeup artistry that I knew, and the one that I'm still earning money for, well, I will start earning money again when the films start coming out. When, hopefully when they've got a vaccination, or when the coronavirus calms down. I mean, it's not looking like it's going to calm down anytime soon, unfortunately. So, but maybe they'll find another way of doing press, because human beings are very adaptable. They're already like BAFTAs the other day was virtual. So basically people were nominated. There was no room or auditorium where the audience were, but people were accepting their awards in their homes on their laptops. So there could be a possibility in the future of perhaps actresses being able to have some kind of, if we all had PPI, if I could do their makeup in a much smaller environment, perhaps that could happen. But the question you're asking me what do you think about being a makeup artist now? You're asking me at a time when no one can see the future.
On another note, I see a lot of young girls doing these. I have a 16-year-old daughter, and she sees these girls on Instagram doing their makeup, and lashes and nails. As an experienced person who's been in the business, like you said, many, many years, do you see that they're doing it wrong? Do you see that, or is there a specific way to do makeup? Well,
here's the thing. I mean, you're talking to somebody who's very open-minded, and I don't believe that there should be rules about how you dress. For instance, I think you should be allowed to express yourself however you want to express yourself. It's not for me to say, oh, that black t-shirt you're wearing, it should be like this, you should buy this one, or you should wear it like this, or you shouldn't wear a black one, or whatever it is. If you like that black t-shirt, knock yourself out with that black t-shirt. So I just think that you should be who you want to be. So when it comes to young girls putting makeup on, I could look at them and go, oh dear, you're putting way too much on. It's really thick. You've got, I know what you're going for. A lot of girls now want to look like Kim Kardashian because she gets so much attention. So that aesthetic of makeup, that very heavy, we call it heavy natural in the business. It's really thick, but it's brown. So you think just because you're using natural colours, it's natural. It's so heavy.
We just call it a mask.
I don't wear makeup like that, and I don't put makeup on like that. And no movie stars put makeup on like that. They don't want that thick, heavy base, that thick contour, all the shading down the nose and down the cheeks. That's for the camera. That's for really, really heavy duty lighting with Photoshop. It's not to be putting on in your bedroom and going outside and looking natural, because it won't look very natural. But then, like I said, it's up to you if you like that. Who am I to say don't wear it? I mean, my opinion is, yeah, sure, it's too heavy. But you know what? When I was 16, you should have seen the state of me. I was wearing so much makeup at 16.
So what I'm getting at now, well, what that brings to mind, I should say, so the purpose of makeup is just to enhance your features naturally.
Yeah, well, I guess. Right? I think you should wear makeup for whatever reasons you want to wear it.
Okay.
So if your idea of accentuating your features might not be my idea of accentuating your features, because I might not think your features are accentuated by wearing those really thick fake lashes that you're putting on. But you do, you think so. I guess.
No, I don't know. I'm asking.
Yeah, no, I mean the girl who's putting on those really thick lashes.
What I'm getting at, maybe she doesn't know. Maybe she's just copying what she's seen other people do, as young people do.
Yeah.
And then there's somebody like yourself who's a connoisseur. So do you have a YouTube channel or anything?
I don't have a YouTube channel because the people that have things like YouTube channels are people that aren't necessarily working for a living, because it takes a lot of time. So that's a job in itself. So there are what we call beauty bloggers, who that's what they do for a living, but they're not going out to work. That is their work.
Yeah, that's
their YouTube is their work. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So going back to the eyelashes thing, I think that you go through phases when you're 16. Didn't you? I mean, do you dress the same now as you did when you're 16? I think you go through. No. That's what I mean. I think you go through a lot of.
Practical. It's hot, so I put on shorts.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But I think you go through a lot of experimentation when you're a kid, and that's part of getting to the place where you are in your own skin. You're trying to find out who you are. Like at 16, you don't know who you really are yet. Or you might know what you think you like and what you don't like, but when you grow up, you get to be an adult. You look back to your 16, you're like, oh my God, I didn't. Look at this. Look at me. What didn't? Look at the choices I made then of boyfriends or girlfriends, or dress or work. It's not who you are when you get older. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a rites of passage, a process. To go through different experimentation phases in your life visually, whether I grew up in the 80s, so there was a lot on offer then. I went from being like a casual girl to being a girl who bleached her hair and had fake dreadlocks and and I picked pink hair and whatever, and that wasn't necessarily the most beautiful thing that I could do to myself, but it was me expressing myself and going through being a teenager. My mum loved it. She was like, she knew it was just a phase. She knew that I would grow out of it, but she loved the fact that I was, you know, my mum was very artistic and quite unusual, so she really loved the fact that her kid was like, you know.
How did your dad take it?
My dad passed away when I was a kid.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
But to be honest with you, I'm so kind of, as you can probably tell, I'm quite, you know, I'm quite my own person. So I think if I'd have had a lot of authority from my dad, it would just been tough. I would have done it anyway. Yeah. And if he didn't like it, it was tough. I definitely wouldn't have listened. If I wanted pink hair when I was 16 and my dad didn't like it, he'd just have to deal with it.
Okay.
Because it's not, if I was bad at school, I understand, but having pink hair isn't misbehaviour.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? You can still be a respectful, hard-working person and have pink hair.
Yeah, I think computer geeks have proven that. Because computer geeks, stereotypically, are like quite out there.
Yeah, yeah.
In their own way, but and corporate companies kind of like that because they think the more out there, the probably more
unusual. Well, you're more of an individual. But I mean, I kind of always felt like that as a kid, but then people didn't realise that then. Mm-hmm. But you know, let's face it. I mean, if you go into prisons, you won't see many people with outrageous pink hair.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not. It's not the idea of like, you know, if you dress up and you're, you know, whatever your appearance is, it's got absolutely nothing to do with your morality. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think it's more important to worry about your kids' health, mental health, and well-being rather than their dress codes.
So, what was your favourite country you've been to?
Oh God, that's impossible. There's too many beautiful countries in the world. It's too much because I think those kinds of questions, like, if I was living in the most beautiful country in the world, supposedly, I would get bored because I like variety. Yeah, totally. I like going away so that I can come back. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I'm never sad to come back to London after a holiday. Never. Because I like my home. Yeah. I like my friends. I love my country. Well, you know, not that much these days, but I have loved my country. I love my community. I love my friends. Yeah. I love my lifestyle. Do you know what I mean? So I'm never sad. I mean, we've got crappy weather, but you know, I've been to LA, spent a lot of time in LA, and LA is sunny all the time, and you know what? It gets a bit boring. Okay. You know, it's all the same all the time. I like the seasons. Yeah. I like autumn, winter, summer, and winter. You know.
It's funny. On that point, I'd have to say I was living in Mombasa in Kenya. Yeah. For 5 years, and I like the fact that it was hot all the time, and I hate it when the temperature drops. It's always like, but that's probably more for my own personal health reasons.
Yeah. I mean, it does feel good, but you're just a bit. You have to go easy. You have to be slow, and sometimes I quite like running around town and doing errands and marching around and walking fast. You can't do that in the heat. It's very slow, very, you know.
Knowing what you know now, and looking at yourself when you were 16, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh, that's a tough question. I would say,
it can be personal, it can be...
Yeah,
it can be both.
God, if it was just one thing, I'd love to say a couple of things, but
well,
if it's just one thing, one of the things would be kind to yourself. And the second thing would be choose your friends wisely.
My grandma always told me you should never have more friends than you have fingers on one hand.
Yeah.
And you only have 4 fingers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I probably agree with her. I mean, I know a lot of people. I'm friendly with a lot of people. I've got a lot of acquaintances, and I've got a lot of people I have fun with. But I've got definitely on one hand my really close friends that I love. Yeah.
And those are the people you can call in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And who will answer your call.
Yeah. And they've seen you warts and all.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they love you anyway.
Yeah. That's what it's about. So, how do you think how do you think things are going to pan out? Are you for talking about the vaccination now? Are you pro-vaccine or anti-vaccine?
Well, I think when it comes to opinions, what we all have to remember is I always want to put these words before any opinion, and that is based on the information that I know, I think this. Because basically an opinion is only based on the information you know. Now, I would put it to everybody, how many people really, really, really know? We know the conspiracy theories. We know every single one. I know I've heard all the conspiracy theories about COVID. It's a Chinese invention. Bill Gates is putting microchips into because it's all about data. Data is obviously the most expensive thing, valuable thing, commodity for the future, and that is the truth. So people think that he's put, that's why he's developed a vaccine. That's why he's put his billions into a vaccine. There's all these conspiracy theories, but at the end of the day, we don't know for sure. So if I knew for sure that there were microchips in the vaccine, I would say, oh no, don't have the vaccine. But I don't know. Do you know? Do you know anyone that knows for sure? Tell me. But there's loads of opinions about it. Do you know what I mean?
I'm more
we don't
concerned, not so concerned about a microchip. I'm more concerned about the after side effects.
Well, this is it. I mean, the thing is, because we've never in the history of mankind had scientists so in such a hurry to develop a vaccine, because this pandemic, this global pandemic has never happened in the scientifically modern world. It's never happened in our lifetime on this level. The last epidemic of this level like this, I think, was probably Spanish flu, and it's panning out quite similar as Spanish flu, and that was in the 1920s. But so it's impossible. I'm just a civilian. I'm not a scientist. I'm not one of the people, right at the top of power who really, really, really know what's going on. And I think that everyone loves to have an opinion. You are either a Guardian reader, you're a Daily Mail reader. If you're American, you're either a Fox News reader, and basically your opinions are based on your what's called cognitive bias. Yeah. You've got a basic, slant to the left, to the middle, to the right. Everyone does. And you choose the information which satisfies that belief system.
Do you think it's always the case? Because I look at it like this, a lot of people, especially young people, get their information through YouTube now. And YouTube could be any man or his dog telling you. And I don't think young people have an opinion, a lot of them. I think they're just, it's like what sound, when they say the king has no clothes on?
Yeah.
The younger you are, the more transparent, as in, that doesn't sound right. I can't explain it, but that doesn't sound right.
What so you think they've got a good bullshit detector? Is that what you're saying?
I'd say, it's like, as a parent, I'm a parent, your children will pick up on, Dad, they're not going to say, you're a liar.
Right.
They're going to say, Dad, and they give you a look. No, I'm not buying that. It's like, Father, you told me about Father Christmas, you told me about the Easter Bunny, and I definitely know now what you're saying is along those lines. Do you see what I mean? So
yeah, interesting.
Yeah, there's a reason behind why people don't trust the government or trust.
Oh God, yeah, and also it's quite easy to even see why they don't, because let's face it, they have done they've really made a real pig's ear of this, haven't they? Everyone knows it, and no one trusts them because we all know what they've been up to. I mean, the minute Dominic Cummings went off that time, I mean, they lost the British public and he got away with it, and he got away with it because he's so important to the government that he couldn't go, because he's the main advisor. He's the guy he's the architecture behind our government. That's why they couldn't fire him.
I heard someone told me last night, a rider, he said that the truth was the Dominic Cummings went to do a deal in a vaccination or medical thing. Secure a deal, and the government couldn't talk about that, so they made up the Brexit. But that Brexit wasn't good enough. Obviously, it didn't hold.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised, because he's already been found out to be on the board. He goes to the SAGE meetings, and someone from the government shouldn't be at SAGE meetings because it's a conflict of interest. Yeah. I mean, let's face it, politics is dodgy, and they're only going to be less dodgy if we find them out, we call them out, and they're held accountable. Because power corrupts, absolutely, always.
But you need, My thing is, I don't think too many politicians. I don't think you should have too many politicians that are from the same school.
You're right, yeah.
So that Eton group, slashed.
What they call the Billingdon, they've got a little. They had a little nickname for that group.
It's like a cartel.
James Cameron, not James Cameron. Listen to me, the director, David Cameron, and all of them. They're all part of that same group. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a cartel. It's a gang.
Exactly. It's a mafia.
Yeah.
It's a mob. Yeah.
All that kind of thing.
Totally.
Public interest.
Totally, and let's face it, they do look after their own. Everyone looks after their own. Mm-hmm. That's the trouble with tribes, like you say.
So last but not least, Ibiza.
Yeah.
How long are we going to be there for?
Going to be there a couple of weeks. I love Ibiza. I've actually only been back to London 11 days. I was there for 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago.
You're living a life of luxury, girl.
Well, you know what? I'm just very lucky because the flights are cheap. I've got I've got friends who've got a house there. That's what it's about. So it's actually cheaper for me to be in Ibiza in a way than it is London. Mm-hmm. It doesn't cost any more being there. The only thing that does cost a lot of money is hiring cars. You know, car hire is expensive, but flights aren't. So, but yes, I'm extraordinarily lucky. But I'm not working, guys. You know, I'm running out of money quickly. I'm broke. You know.
Okay.
But it doesn't look too bad at the moment, does it? After Ibiza.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Okay, well, we hope you have a good time.
Thank you.
And Boris doesn't change the rules for quarantining when you come back.
Well, yeah, I do have to self-isolate when I come back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Even though there's hardly any coronavirus in Ibiza, there's no one in ICU, so I can be from Leicester, where it's really bad, and go over and to go to gyms, breathe all over their restaurants, no quarantine in Ibiza. But anyone coming from Ibiza, where there's virtually no coronavirus, they have to self-isolate back in England.
Okay.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Well, thanks for that.
A little bit of a tidbit. Thanks, guys. Lovely talking to you all.
Yeah.
Hope I didn't bore the pants off you.
No, it's been great interviewing you. To the listeners out there, I hope you liked it. Feel free to click on the link below just to leave your comments on info@taxichronicles.com. You can also check our website below also, which allows you to listen to all the other episodes on the various different platforms we have. Do not forget to listen to our sister podcast, Africa Investor Stories, all about what real investors with real stories explaining why they invested in Africa. A hint is that Africa has the fastest growing economies on the planet and has done for some years now. Apart from that, stay happy and stay safe. Right.